In the dusty scrolls of ancient texts lies a secret that modern gardeners are just beginning to rediscover. 7 biblical fruits that once sustained civilizations can thrive in your backyard today, carrying the same healing power that shepherds and kings relied upon thousands of years ago. Number 3 was so revered that it appeared on Solomon's temple, while number 1 holds compounds that modern medicine is only now learning to replicate. Let's begin. Number 7, pomegranate. The pomegranate earned its place in biblical history not just as food, but as medicine wrapped in crimson skin. Ancient Hebrew texts reference this fruit over 30 times, calling it one of the 7 species that blessed the Promised Land. Modern science now confirms what those ancient peoples knew instinctively. Pomegranates contain more antioxidants than green tea, blueberries, and red wine combined. The secret lies in compounds called punicalagins, found almost exclusively in pomegranate peels and juice. These molecules are so large they shouldn't theoretically cross into human cells, yet they do, creating what researchers call a biological paradox. A 2013 study published in the Journal of Nutritional Biochemistry found that these compounds survive digestion and reach tissues throughout the body, reducing inflammation at the cellular level. But here's what most people don't realize about growing pomegranates at home. The varieties sold in grocery stores are bred for shelf life, not potency. Ancient pomegranates were smaller, more tart, and contained concentrated levels of these healing compounds. You can grow these heritage varieties in almost any climate zone above 7, and they require less water than most fruit trees. The biblical significance runs deeper than nutrition. Pomegranate motifs decorated the high priest's robes, and the fruit represented fertility, abundance, and divine blessing. Ancient physicians used every part of the tree, the bark for wounds, the flowers for digestive issues, and the fruit for what they called diseases of aging. That ancient wisdom is about to make perfect sense when you see what number 6 can do. Number 6, figs. Adam and Eve didn't choose fig leaves by accident. The fig tree was humanity's first pharmacy, providing both shelter and medicine in a single plant. Biblical accounts mention figs over 60 times, and for good reason. This tree produces fruit twice per year and can live for centuries, making it the ultimate survival crop. Modern research has identified why figs held such sacred status. They contain ficin, a proteolytic enzyme that breaks down proteins and aids digestion in ways that synthetic enzymes cannot replicate. Ancient peoples used fresh fig paste to treat wounds, tumours, and infections, unknowingly harnessing the antimicrobial properties that scientists confirmed only in recent decades. Fresh figs contain potassium levels higher than bananas, calcium that rivals dairy products, and fibre that supports gut health in ways our ancestors understood long before we knew what a microbiome was. But the real power lies in the syconium, the unique structure that makes figs technically not fruits, but inverted flowers. This unusual biology creates compounds found nowhere else in nature. Growing figs at home reveals another biblical truth. These trees thrive in poor soil and drought conditions, producing abundance where other plants fail. Ancient civilizations planted figs first when establishing new settlements, knowing they provided reliable nutrition and medicine for generations. A single mature fig tree can produce over 200 pounds of fruit annually. The prophet Isaiah prescribed a fig poultice for King Hezekiah's boil, and archaeological evidence suggests this was standard medical practice throughout the ancient world. Modern wound care research now confirms that fig latex accelerates healing and prevents bacterial infection. Here's where things get interesting with the next fruit on our list. Number 5, grapes. Wine gets the attention, but the healing power of grapes lies in parts most people discard. Ancient biblical cultures consumed whole grapes, skin, seeds, and all, accessing compounds that modern grape juice processing destroys entirely. Those discarded seeds contain oligomeric proanthocyanidins, molecules so powerful that pharmaceutical companies now extract them for supplements. The Bible mentions grapes and vineyards over 500 times, establishing them as central to both survival and prosperity. But ancient peoples didn't just ferment grapes for preservation. They used grape leaves to wrap wounds, grape juice as a blood purifier, and dried grapes to sustain long journeys. Archaeological evidence from biblical sites reveals that grape cultivation techniques from 4,000 years ago produced fruit with higher antioxidant concentrations than modern commercial varieties. This is where modern cultivation has failed us entirely. Commercial grapes are bred for size, sweetness, and shelf life, breeding out the very compounds that made them medicinally valuable. Ancient grape varieties were smaller, more bitter, and contained concentrated levels of resveratrol, the compound now famous for its anti-aging properties. You can reclaim this lost potency by growing heritage grape varieties at home. These older cultivars require minimal intervention, resist diseases naturally, and produce fruit with medicinal properties that would have been familiar to David, Solomon, and Daniel. Even in northern climates, cold hardy varieties can produce meaningful harvests. The fermentation process that created biblical wine also created probiotics and preserved nutrients through harsh seasons. Modern research confirms that naturally fermented grape products support gut health and provide bioavailable nutrients that fresh fruit cannot deliver. Ancient peoples weren't just making alcohol, they were creating medicine. But the next plant makes grapes look like a beginner's remedy. Number 4, dates. Date palms were so valuable in biblical times that armies would target enemy groves first, knowing that destroying the dates meant destroying a civilization's future. These trees live for over a century, produce fruit for decades, and provide everything from food to building materials. Modern nutritional analysis reveals why dates contain more potassium per serving than any other fruit, plus copper, manganese, and vitamin B6 in concentrations that rival synthetic supplements. But here's what makes dates truly remarkable for home cultivation. Date palms are either male or female, and ancient peoples developed sophisticated techniques for hand-pollinating female trees using pollen from male plants. This knowledge was so valuable that it was passed down through generations of specialized cultivators, creating a living library of agricultural wisdom. The healing properties of dates go beyond nutrition. Fresh dates contain tannins with antimicrobial properties, while the fruit's natural sugars provide sustained energy without the blood sugar spikes of processed sweeteners. Ancient peoples used date paste to treat digestive issues, anemia, and what biblical texts describe as weakness of spirit, conditions modern medicine recognizes as nutritional deficiencies. You can grow dwarf date palm varieties in containers, even in northern climates, by bringing them indoors during winter months. These smaller cultivars still produce edible fruit and maintain the same nutritional profile as their desert cousins. Ancient date varieties were more diverse than modern commercial types, with some producing fruit that dried naturally on the tree, creating concentrated nutrition that could sustain travelers for months. The preservation qualities of dates made them ideal for biblical journeys and harsh seasons. Archaeological evidence shows that date storage techniques developed thousands of years ago kept fruit fresh for years, providing reliable nutrition when other crops failed. This wasn't just food storage, and it was survival technology disguised as agriculture. That brings us to a fruit that changed the ancient world entirely. Number 3, olives. Solomon's temple was built with olive wood, the Olympic victors wore olive crowns, and Mediterranean civilizations rose and fell based on olive oil production. But the biblical significance of olives goes far deeper than economics or symbolism. These trees produce fruit that contains over 30 different compounds with proven medicinal properties, creating what ancient peoples called liquid gold. Modern research has isolated oleuropein, a compound found exclusively in olive leaves and unprocessed fruit, that demonstrates antioxidant activity stronger than vitamin C and E combined. Ancient peoples used olive leaf tea to treat fever, infections, and digestive issues, unknowingly accessing one of nature's most powerful antimicrobial systems. Studies published in recent decades confirm that oleuropein can inhibit viral replication, reduce inflammation, and support cardiovascular health in ways that synthetic medications struggle to replicate. The oil extraction process reveals another layer of biblical wisdom. Cold-pressed olive oil retains heat-sensitive compounds that provide therapeutic benefits beyond nutrition. Ancient peoples understood that different pressing methods produced oils with different properties: first press oil for healing, later pressings for cooking, and olive pumice for soap and lamp fuel. Nothing was wasted. Growing olive trees at home connects you to cultivation techniques unchanged for millennia. These trees thrive in poor, rocky soil and actually produce better oil when stressed by drought conditions. Ancient olive groves in the Mediterranean still produce fruit today, with some trees documented as over 1,000 years old. The rootstock genetics of these ancient cultivars contain drought resistance and disease immunity bred out of modern commercial varieties. Here's where most people misunderstand olive cultivation entirely. The fruit must be processed immediately after harvest to preserve medicinal compounds. Ancient peoples developed techniques for home-scale oil pressing that modern gardeners can replicate, creating fresh olive oil with therapeutic properties unavailable in any store. And it gets even more surprising with the next fruit. Number 2. Apples. The apple that tempted Eve was nothing like the watery, oversized fruit filling modern grocery stores. Wild apples mentioned in biblical texts were small, tart, and packed with compounds that could preserve human health through harsh seasons. These ancient varieties contained tannin levels that provided natural antibiotic properties, plus fiber and pectin that supported digestive health in ways our ancestors depended upon for survival. Modern apple cultivation has systematically bred out the very properties that made apples medicinally valuable. Commercial varieties are selected for sugar content, size, and appearance, while heritage apples maintain the genetic traits that sustained biblical civilizations. These older cultivars contain higher levels of quercetin, a flavonoid that modern research links to reduced inflammation, improved heart health, and enhanced immune function. The saying, "an apple a day keeps the doctor away," originated from observations that people who consumed whole apples, including the peels and seeds, experienced fewer illnesses throughout the year. Apple peels contain concentrated antioxidants, while the seeds provide trace amounts of compounds that support cellular health. Ancient peoples consumed entire apples, accessing nutrition that modern processing destroys. Growing heritage apple varieties at home requires understanding pollination techniques that commercial orchards have abandoned. Many biblical-era apple types require specific pollinizer trees to produce fruit, creating genetic diversity that enhances both yield and nutritional content. These companion plantings also support beneficial insects and create ecosystem resilience that monoculture orchards cannot achieve. The preservation methods ancient peoples used for apples created concentrated nutrition that could sustain families through winter months. Dried apple rings, fermented apple cider, and apple butter provided probiotics, vitamins, and calories when fresh food was unavailable. These weren't just preservation techniques. They were nutritional technologies that enhanced the healing properties of fresh fruit. But here is the fruit that may be the most important of them all. Number 1. Citron. This is the fruit most biblical scholars believe was the original fruit of the goodly tree mentioned in Leviticus, and its healing properties explain why ancient peoples considered it sacred. Citron looks like a massive, bumpy lemon, but its thick peel contains essential oils so powerful that modern aromatherapy uses citron extracts to treat anxiety, depression, and digestive disorders that pharmaceutical companies struggle to address effectively. Archaeological evidence suggests that citron was among the first cultivated fruits, prized not for its sparse pulp but for its medicinal rind. The peel contains limonene, citral, and other terpenes that cross the blood-brain barrier and influence neurotransmitter production. Ancient peoples candied citron peel, creating concentrated medicine disguised as confection. Modern research confirms that these compounds can reduce cortisol levels, improve mood, and support cognitive function in ways that synthetic medications attempt to replicate. The cultivation requirements for citron reveal why this fruit held such sacred status. Citron trees are extremely sensitive to temperature, soil conditions, and water quality, requiring the kind of careful attention that ancient gardeners provided as religious devotion. Successfully growing citron demonstrated agricultural mastery that communities depended upon for survival. But here's what makes citron truly extraordinary for modern home cultivation. Unlike other citrus fruits that have been hybridized extensively, citron genetics remain largely unchanged from biblical times. The fruit you can grow today contains the same therapeutic compounds that ancient peoples accessed thousands of years ago. This direct genetic link to biblical agriculture is unavailable in any other commonly cultivated fruit. The essential oil content in fresh citron peel is so high that ancient peoples used it as a natural preservative for other foods, extending storage life and preventing spoilage in climates without refrigeration. This wasn't just food preservation. It was a sophisticated understanding of antimicrobial compounds that modern food science has only recently begun to appreciate. Citron requires specific growing conditions that limit commercial production, which is why you'll rarely find fresh citron in stores. Home cultivation allows access to this powerful healing fruit that sustained biblical civilizations and continues to offer therapeutic benefits that modern medicine is just beginning to understand. The convergence of ancient wisdom and modern science reveals a profound truth about these biblical fruits. Our ancestors didn't just stumble upon foods that happened to be healthy. They developed sophisticated agricultural and culinary practices that maximized the healing potential of plants that grew in their environment. Today's home gardeners can reclaim this lost knowledge by choosing heritage varieties, employing traditional cultivation methods, and consuming these fruits in ways that honor their original therapeutic purpose. The degradation of modern fruit varieties hasn't just reduced flavor, it has systematically eliminated the medicinal compounds that made these plants valuable for human health. By growing biblical fruit varieties at home, you're not just gardening, you're participating in the preservation of agricultural genetics and nutritional wisdom that took thousands of years to develop. Which of these biblical fruits surprised you most with its healing potential? The knowledge contained in ancient texts is waiting to transform modern gardens, and the healing power of these 7 fruits is as accessible today as it was in Solomon's time. Subscribe to continue exploring the intersection of ancient wisdom and modern cultivation, where every seed planted connects us to the profound knowledge of our ancestors